you'll spend roughly a third of your entire life completely unconscious. Blind. Deaf. Unable to defend yourself. Producing nothing. Contributing nothing. For most of human history, that looked like the universe's biggest design flaw. Then neuroscientists finally built a way to actually watch a living brain during sleep. What they found wasn't downtime. It was maintenance work more critical than anything you do awake. Here's the puzzle that stumped scientists for decades. Every organ in your body has a dedicated waste removal system. Your lymphatic system flushes cellular debris out of your muscles, your organs, and your skin. Your brain, somehow, appeared to have none of that. No lymph vessels were ever found inside brain tissue itself. Which raised an obvious question nobody could answer. Where does the brain's own metabolic waste actually go? In 2012, a neuroscientist named Maiken Nedergaard, working at the University of Rochester, found the answer, and it had been hiding in plain sight. Nedergaard's lab discovered an entirely new anatomical system, one nobody had mapped before, which she named the glymphatic system. It works through channels running alongside the brain's blood vessels, pumping cerebrospinal fluid through the spaces between brain cells, physically flushing out metabolic waste, including a protein called amyloid beta, the same protein that clumps into the plaques found in Alzheimer's disease. Here's the detail that made this discovery so significant. This flushing system isn't running constantly. Using 2-photon imaging on mice, Nedergaard's team found the brain cleared waste roughly twice as fast during sleep or under anesthesia as it did while fully awake. Later research went further. During deep, slow-wave sleep specifically, the space between brain cells physically expands by roughly 60% as brain cells briefly shrink, dramatically lowering the resistance to fluid flow and letting waste drain out far more efficiently. Your brain isn't simply resting while you sleep. It's running its plumbing at nearly full capacity, in a way it structurally can't while you're conscious and using that same space for active thought. And this isn't old, settled science sitting in a textbook. It's still actively being confirmed right now. For over a decade, this glymphatic clearance process had mostly been demonstrated in mice, not directly proven in humans. That changed with a 2026 study published in Nature Communications, which provided direct human evidence. Measurable clearance of amyloid beta and tau from the brain during sleep, confirmed through blood biomarker changes the following morning. A discovery from mouse brains in 2012 has now been directly confirmed happening inside human brains, 14 years later. The clinical stakes here are genuinely serious. Nedergaard's own research has shown that even a single night of sleep deprivation is enough to measurably raise amyloid beta levels in the brain. Chronic sleep disruption, over years, has been linked to accumulation patterns that mirror the earliest stages of Alzheimer's pathology. Poor sleep isn't just correlated with dementia risk. Increasingly, researchers argue it's a direct contributing cause. Waste removal is only half of what's happening while you're unconscious. The other half is happening at the level of individual brain connections. Neuroscientists Giulio Tononi and Chiara Sorelli at the University of Wisconsin developed something called the synaptic homeostasis hypothesis to explain a completely different problem: why the brain needs to periodically go offline at all, beyond just waste removal. Their model works like this. Every waking hour, as you learn new things and form new memories, your brain's synapses, the connections between neurons, get incrementally strengthened. That's a good thing. It's literally how learning works. But left unchecked, forever, that strengthening would eventually saturate the entire system. Connections would grow so uniformly strong that the brain would lose the ability to tell a genuinely important signal apart from background noise, while also burning enormous amounts of metabolic energy, maintaining all of it. Sleep, according to this model, is when the brain renormalizes that process, proportionally scaling back synaptic strength across the board, preserving the relative differences that actually encode meaningful memories while trimming away the less important growth accumulated during the day. Tononi and Sorelli describe it directly. Sleep is the price the brain pays for plasticity. Later research using electron microscopy found direct physical evidence for this. Measurably smaller synapses after sleep compared to before it, exactly as the model predicted. So two entirely separate, independently discovered systems. One flushing chemical waste, one recalibrating electrical connections. Both turn out to require the same precondition to function properly. Full, genuine unconsciousness. Not simply resting quietly with your eyes closed. Both systems appear to depend specifically on the deep, slow-wave stages of actual sleep to do their work, which is part of why lying in bed scrolling your phone for 8 hours never produces the same restorative effect as 8 hours of real sleep. For most of human history, unconsciousness for a third of your life looked like pure waste, time you could have spent hunting, building, thinking, or surviving. What neuroscience actually found, once it finally built the tools to look, is closer to the opposite. Sleep is when your brain runs its plumbing at full capacity and recalibrates its own wiring. Work that appears to be structurally impossible to do while you're awake and using that same space to think. The waste of time was never a design flaw. It looks a lot more like the maintenance shift that makes everything you do while awake possible in the first place. If that changes how you think about your next full night of sleep, that's exactly the right reaction to have. Subscribe for more deep dives into the biology happening inside you that you'll never consciously feel. And tell me in the comments, does knowing this make you more likely to actually prioritize sleep?